Welcome again, students. We are doing chapter number 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. Let's continue it with paragraph 10. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Unraveling means becoming fail. Albert had wanted to marry Maliva right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. She thought Maliva, who was 3 years older than her son, was too old for him. She was also bothered by the Maliva's intelligence. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the bedding off. When Einstein was solving the complicated problems in physics, his personal life started becoming problematic. Actually, he wanted to marry Maliva after finishing his studies, but his mother was engaged. She thought Maliva was too intelligent to be a wife, so he cancelled his marriage. The pair finally married in the year 1903 and had two sons, but a few years later the marriage faltered. Maliva, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. After a year of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. They got married in the year 1903 and had two sons. But unfortunately, their marriage didn't last. Falter means here become big. Their marriage became big because Maliva was very intelligent and being a housewife, she could not fulfill her career dreams. That's why she becoming an unhappy housewife. So after a long fighting in the year 1919, they got separated. But in the same year, Einstein married for the second time with his cousin Elsa. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided with his rise to world fame. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of sun in the 19 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed star would be deflected through the sun's gravitational field. The newspaper proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution. When he married Elsa that year, one thing coincided. It was his rise to world fame. He became world famous. Then people acknowledged him as great scientist. In the year 1915, he had published one more paper on general theory of relativity that gave the new definition to the concept of gravity. In the year 1919, there was a solar eclipse that proved his theory was accurate. Actually, in the year 1950, he had calculated that in the year 1919 there would be a solar eclipse, and due to it, the apparent position of stars would change to some extent, and it was proved right. So the newspaper announced his work as a scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honor and invitation from all over the world and lauded by the press. Lauded means here praised. He was awarded with Nobel Prize in 1921 and he received many honors and invitation from all over the place of the world, and even the press praised him. When the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, Einstein immigrated to the United States. 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. Uproar means upset. Many of them had fled from fascism. Students, fascism was a dictatorial concept which was started in Europe from Italy under the rule of Benito Mussolini. Just as Einstein had, and now they were afraid the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. In the year 1933, when the Germany came under the power of Nazis, Einstein has shifted to United States of America. He did so because he didn't want his research and finding to be used for destruction. After 5 years that German had discovered the process of nuclear fission, the process in which atomic bombs are made, this process uh, was developed in Berlin. So, due to this, American physicists became upset, and many of them had escaped to America, like Einstein, because they afraid that Nazis could misuse the technology. At the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August 1939, in which he warned a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. His words did not fail to have an effect. The American developed the atomic bomb in a secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. With the request of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter for the first time to American President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 2nd August in 1939. He warned him that the bomb, which was developed by the Germany, would destroy the whole world if they drop it on any place. So his words made a great impact on the Roosevelt. So Americans developed their own atomic bomb in a secret project, and they dropped it on two Japanese city, cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Students, actually, Germany had developed atomic bombs, but they did not drop it on any country, but America did. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction. This time he wrote a public missive to the United Nations. In it, he proposed the formation of a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact, but over the next decade, Einstein got ever more involved in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup and using his popularity to campaign for the peace and democracy. These two, these two cities, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, was completely destroyed. So that's why Einstein was deeply shaken and very hurt. So he wrote a public missive. Missive means here official letter to the United Nations. He proposed to form a world government so that it can prevent the countries from such type of destruction. But this letter made no impact. So coming in next years, he involved in world politics. His main aim was to protect the countries involving in collecting the arms and developing the weapons. He campaigned for world peace and democracy. He was died in the year 1955 at the age of 76, and he was celebrated as a visionary who could foresee the future. And he was remembered as a world citizen because he had a great concern for the good for people and world peace. Students, this is all about Albert Einstein. I hope you understand it well. Thank you for watching.